Hello everyone, my name is David and this is yet another Holiday Hack Challenge video series on the solutions write-ups for the 2023 edition of the game. Just like in the previous 2 years, I played the challenges, had a ton of fun, and just like in the previous years, I'm not going to compete, but I wanted to create these videos to show everyone how I solve the challenges. Maybe you can learn something from these. If you took the challenges in the past 2 years to 3 years, the interface is pretty similar. I'm still going to go through the orientation because there's a couple things that worth paying attention to when you play the game. It will be helpful for challenges later on if you, for example, fire up an interception proxy like burp or zap maybe, and monitor the traffic. So let's take a quick look at the orientation, and there's also a little bit of change in the navigation for the game. All right, so after logging in, we are greeted with a ship. This is kind of new compared to previous year's challenges. So we will have to navigate the Geese Islands here. You can see the islands here on a mini-map. There are also flags, these green flags. These are for a bonus, not really challenges, more like a bonus game that they have. And you have to find the various docks, the various places on these maps to find the location of the challenges. It's sort of a mini game to explore the islands as well. And navigating the ship is either with the arrow keys or the usual WASD. So you can navigate the ship like so. You can hit the space bar to do an anchor break. This is more important when you want to play that boat challenge game that is built in. And then when you discover a part of an island where you have challenges, it's going to be displayed with this green circle. And if you navigate your ship into it, you can dock the ship. There's also a bearing that points you to the direction that you selected. You can clear this one if you don't need it. You can send a nice little ahoy to other players. It seems to be a little bit flaky on this browser maybe. I am playing in the Chromium browser of Burpsuit, so that might be the reason why this is not working, but it would just display an ahoy message. And you can of course customize your ship. I'm gonna pick an all blue sails for my little ship here. There we go, and the ship is updated. Otherwise, the navigation is pretty much the same. So you have here icons to get to your profile, modify the settings, and there's also a navigation bar here with the objectives, the map locations, the story, and so on. And you can also just jump out from a map to the ship navigation map that we're looking at right now. So docking the ship to the orientation gets us to this little part of the island where we're just gonna go through quickly the orientation, just like previous years. The end goal is to put together the narrative, the story, which is in a little poem form. I'm not gonna read this one. Everyone playing the game will be able to do that. And most importantly, probably the objectives are also under this panel. Under objectives, and you will see the task that you need to solve, or tasks, their difficulty level. You might have hints for these. Sometimes you need to use special items. There's going to be an example of that soon. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll explore this one as we play the game. So let's just jump over here. With my character, you can customize this character if you want to, and then you have to click on the little elf. They have amazing voices, ton of fun to listen to them. I muted the game. There will be parts where we need the audio for the game, so I'll unmute in that case, but the the walkthrough really shouldn't be about the orientation part. So I'm just going to click through the conversation here. We're going to get our badge. You can also just click on this one to get to this navigation panel with the game options. And then they're going to tell us to pick up this item here. We can just click on the fishing pole. My character will get there and picks up the item. So these items will show up under the panel, under items. And then last but not least, we are official now. And what we need to figure out is also how to use a terminal. So throughout the game, and this is a little bit different from the previous years, you will have to solve the challenges within the terminal, within the game. So this opens up an iframe in the game. And most of the challenges, you have to solve them here on this panel. Even if you're solving the challenge in a separate window, because you can just open, and sometimes it's easier to open them in a separate window, you will have to go back here and enter your solution here for most of the challenges. Not all the challenges, but most of them you will have to do it here. Now, the other thing that is kind of different this year is that you're required to use AI for at least some of the challenges. There's one challenge where you definitely have to use AI, so there's no option, there's no way around that. You just have to use artificial intelligence for that challenge. But for most of the challenges, I think you can just solve it without using AI. And for the very last one, I was very happy that I could use something like ChatGPT. I used ChatGPT to solve that challenge, at least part of it, because you need to write a little bit of code, and ChatGPT does an excellent job writing that very simple code, but you can use other AI. There's no restriction on that. All right, so here in the terminal, depending on the browser, and for some of the challenges, I might use Firefox instead, because some of the challenges are a little bit flakier in Chrome or Chromium browsers. So there's sometimes an advantage for some of the, for example, lockpicking ones, where it's just easier to use Firefox as a browser. So here, for example, in Chromium, and I think in the previous year's video, someone was asking me, how do I copy paste from these terminals? In Chromium, it's kind of wonky and hard to highlight text because it just jumps off from the text, but it does highlight it, and it is on your clipboard at that point. So you can just enter it by clicking the middle mouse button. I think right click also pastes it in. But then it pops up also the browser window here. So probably the middle mouse button is the easiest one. Yeah, so here for some reason, the terminal where we need to enter the answer is the upper one, the lower one. I think for most of the challenges, you just work on the lower terminal, but that's fine. So just hit enter, and that is going to take us to the end of the orientation. So you can, under achievements, brag about your achievements, and under objectives, you will have a green check mark when you finish the game. I believe that is all for the orientation. So the elf tells us that we need to ship around, and find other islands, explore other places. That is all. I'm not sure why the notification is not going away. All right. And if you want to jump out, you can just go to your ship and click on a ship picture at the dock where you docked at. Or I think it's an easier one just to click on the anchor icon here. Now that I realized that some of the automation that I did for the automated shipping could have been done in a simpler way, but that's okay. So I might modify the script later. The automation was working fine without that. So if you click on this, it gets back to the ship view, and here I just want to show you a couple of more things. So if you hit spacebar twice, then you can cast a line, and then you can reel in your little fish when this one turns red. If it turns red. Come on. So this is part of the bonus challenge. There we go. We just caught a fish. You have to catch in the first bonus challenge 20 fish, and altogether there's 171 if I remember correctly. That is the second part of the bonus challenge, to catch all the fish, and for that you really need automation. Now, to do some of the automation tasks or solve the easier way some of the challenges, you do want to pay attention to a couple of things happening under the hood. So this game uses WebSockets extensively and generates a ton of WebSocket traffic here. If you're looking for example, a fish, when you cast a lane, there should be a part that shows, here, and then the traffic just scrolls out from the view. Okay, I'm not gonna wait for reading it in, but you will see in the WebSocket the event happening when the button turns red. The other part that you want to pay attention to is on an island when you I'm just trying to find, set entities. When you just enter to an island, all the characters, all the items will show up under this set entities message under the WebSockets. And probably more importantly than that, although you are going to need this one for 3 of the challenges, let's say, for the Game Boy cartridges. And the other thing that you will need in one of the Game Boy cartridge games is the map layout. So these maps, these are generated based on this layout view. I know it doesn't look like much, but if you use a text editor, I'm using Notepad++, but you can use anything that you like, then you will be able to swap these new line characters to actual new lines. You just need to pick here extended. I'm gonna replace all, and then this will draw the map, the layout of the scene that I'm currently at. And you will have to search for special items in some of the objectives, some of the challenges. And this is a very, very useful for giving you a sort of bird's eye view. That's pretty much it for the orientation part. So it's a good idea to have interception proxy running while you're playing the game, because some of the messages can be very useful to do automations or just to give you a bit easier and better view of the game. Right, so that's it for the orientation part. I know it was not super interesting, so let's jump into the first real objective in the next video. Hope to see you there.